Hi, I'm John, and let's build ourselves a pedal board. As guitarists, one of the greatest challenges we face when building a pedal board is sticking to scope. If we don't set scope, we end up with an overcrowded board that's difficult to use. And while yes, I realize that nothing screams rock star more than a plethora of pedals down at your feet, if you're turning effects on and off at the wrong time, or you're not maximizing the use of the pedal board, you've essentially wasted time and money during the design and build process. Plus, you've set up a potential shit show rather than an effective musical tool. In this two-part video series, we're going to be building a compact pedal board. Part 1 will focus on the design and build process, while Part 2 will be a demo of the board used in a variety of applications. All reference materials and components used will be listed in the description below. And just as a disclaimer, I am not affiliated with any of the individuals or products referenced in this video. That said, let's get started. As I said earlier in this video, we need to set scope for our build, and I need 3 things out of this pedal board. First, it needs to be compact enough for me to hop on a plane and travel cross country. Second, it needs to be bulletproof in the studio and replicate my tone for an album I'm working on. And last, I need to have the option for a variety of different live situations. The first thing I did was I went out to the interwebs and I did a little bit of research, got the dimensions of carry-on luggage for a variety of different airlines, averaged that out, and that gave me the maximum size of this board. Secondly, I researched what other people were doing, because there's really no reason to reinvent the wheel. I found an article for Premier magazine by Pete Thorne called Tone Tips: A Mini Board is Born. I used that as the foundation for this board while tweaking the design to fit my needs. Here's the finished product, and we'll talk about signal chain at the end of this video. For now, let's talk about the individual component and effect choices I made for this build. So I chose to go with the Pedaltrain Classic Jr as the platform for my board. The Classic Jr is lightweight, and its frame size is 18 by 12.5 by 3.5 inches, making it the perfect size to carry on a plane. The other thing I like about this platform is it allows me to easily mount infrastructure components, such as a power supply and input-output jacks. I like to do all my input-output routing external to my pedals. Best-Tronics Professional Audio had the solution for me, so I picked up a set of 2-port and 3-port side panel locking feed-through connectors. What's great about this is BTPA will pre-label the panels for you, and as a bonus, the kit includes zip ties and cable anchors. The core tone of this pedal board comes from 3 pedals. The first pedal is the Ethos Clean 2, which allows me several configuration options. First, I can use it in the traditional setup with a pedal in front of the amp. I can also plug the Ethos Clean 2 directly into the power section of an amp, taking my clean tones with me wherever I go. Lastly, I can use the pedal speaker simulator and mimic a guitar amp. The Suhr Eclipse is used to capture the spirit of the gain channels from my PT100, which has been my main amplifier for the past year. Last of the core pedals is the Ethos TW1. I use this pedal for lower gain just on the edge of breakup guitar tone. Between these 3 pedals, I have all the cleans and distortions I would ever need in both studio and live situations. I have 2 Wampler pedals on this board, the Mini Ego for compression and the Tumnus for some overdrive. For a volume pedal, I'm using the Dunlop X Mini. Now I prefer my Ernie Ball volume pedal, but due to size constraints, I went with the Dunlop. My main effects processor is the Eventide H9 Max. There are a couple reasons why I like this unit. The effects are outstanding, and I can get up to 3 additional less expensive units like the H9 Core and load them up with the algorithms from the Max. For reverb, I'm using the TC Electronic Hall of Fame 2. I use reverb as needed, and I rarely switch between reverb settings on the fly. To power it all, I have the SPOT PRO CS7. I chose this for its versatility in both voltage and milliamps. I prefer to solder my own cables. In the past, I've used solderless cable solutions, but they have failed me on more than one occasion. For this build, I'm using the Mogami miniature instrument cable. As for connectors, I'm using low-profile square plug SP400s and Switchcraft 380s. Lastly, all the pedals are attached to the board using 3M dual lock tape rather than the Velcro that comes with the Pedaltrain. The first thing I like to do when building a pedal board is install the infrastructure components. This includes the input-output brackets, power supply, and locking feed-through connectors. Getting started with the build in this manner gives me a sense of accomplishment, moving to the more monotonous part of the build, which is cable making. Once you've determined the layout of your board, you're going to want to measure your cable lengths based on the cable routing options available to you. You can measure cable length a couple of different ways. I like to use a Taylor's measuring tape. Another option is to cut strings to length and measure the strings.
Just remember to give yourself enough wiggle room for the connectors. There are a ton of videos out there on making cables. A few things that stand out if you want to make your own instrument cables. First off, get yourself a good soldering iron, preferably one where you can control the temperature. The technique of tinning is your friend, and get yourself a good cable tester. I use the Behringer CT100. It's inexpensive and works great. Once all the cables have been made, it's time to start placing the pedals. First and foremost, clean the board. I make sure that there are no metal shards, and then wipe the board down with alcohol. This helps remove any oil from my fingers. Setting up your pedals and cables won't always be a linear process, so be prepared to work backwards, forwards, and sideways during the pedal and cable placement process. Once the pedals and cables are all set, I like to do a quick and dirty test of all the pedals prior to doing any cable management work. Once I know everything is working as intended, I first start anchoring down the pedal cables, followed by the power cables. When anchoring my power cables, I do my best to cross the instrument cables at a 90-degree angle. The theory is this helps reduce any unwanted noise, but what the hell do I know? I'm a guitarist, I'm not an electrical guy. Now that the pedal board is complete, here's the signal chain. Guitar goes into guitar in. From there, the signal goes to the Mini Ego, Tumnus, TWE1, Suhr Eclipse, then to the Ethos Clean 2. From there, the signal splits. The speaker sim from the Ethos Clean 2 goes to out 1, located next to the guitar input, and the out from the Ethos Clean 2 goes to the Volume X Mini. The Volume X Mini then feeds to the amp out on the left side of the board. FX Send, which is also located on the left side of the board, goes to the H9, and the H9 feeds into the Hall of Fame 2. The Hall of Fame 2 then feeds into the FX Return, which is located on the left side of the pedal board. I have my board configured for mono out because I will most likely never use this in a stereo config. You might also notice that there's no tuner on the board. This was a conscious decision in an effort to save space. If I'm in the studio, I'll most likely be using an external strobe tuner, and live, I'm good with a headstock tuner.
So there you have it, a compact grab-and-go board that's conducive for travel, studio work, and live situations. In the next video, I will do a full demo of the board in a variety of different configurations so you can hear its tonal capabilities. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, and until the next time, keep on playing.